Hi everyone, Ian from DIY Home and Gardening. As you can see behind me, it is absolutely chucking it down. Had in my mind that I'd come up here just do an hour. It was overcast but sunny. Yeah, get a few jobs done and then be able to have a little chat with you. But obviously Mother Nature had other ideas, and I guess, well, that is part of having the allotment, really, is working alongside nature, seeing how it pans out, and bit of fingers crossed and hoping for the best. So what I thought I'd do today was essentially a bit of a having an allotment, is it worth it? And probably when the weather's like this you'd say no, but what I've done is I've made a listing of all my expenditure, what we've got from it, and then tried to sort of balance the two to then see, actually, is it worth having an allotment financially? And purely on that side of things, self-sufficiency, and see where we're at. So let's get the camera set up and have a little chat. Okay, so 2023, we're December 2023. It's been a bit of a crappy year in terms of weather, certainly compared to last year. Now, hopefully, if a lot of you have been following my journey, then you'll be aware that last year, 2022, was the first year of me really having an allotment, but it was at a different location. Had to move because the site is privately owned, and as I've said before, the site is owned by an Orthodox Jewish community. Really nice bunch of people, and so we rent the plot from them. And when Ellie decided that he wanted to have the area down there as well, returned back to his garden, we kind of had to move. Kindly enough, as I've mentioned before, is Ellie went out with his own money and bought replacement scaffold boards for me. He's supplied me an initial 15-18 tons worth of soil, and we've had as much manure as we've wanted throughout the season, including the last little bit that I've moved today. And so couldn't really ask for much more, but we do pay a premium for having this plot. So a normal council allotment on a plot this sort of size, you're looking at about £20 to £30 depending on the region. Here I'm paying £140, which is a big difference in price, but on the flip side of that, I've got a plot, and I got a plot pretty much as soon as I wanted one, whereas again, you're trying to get a council one, you might be on a waiting list. Certainly around here the waiting lists are between 5 and 8 years. So not ideal to have to move plots at the start of this year, but that's the way it goes. And so this plot I've only been on since March. What I've done is I've done this sort of is an allotment worth it purely on, I guess, a financial benefit, because for most people that's what it's about. If I spend X amount of money, will I get X amount of money back, or save X amount of money? Can you be self-sufficient? Well, I guess the thing is, let's go through and see it. It is a little bit muddy. So here is my list, and I've tried to be as extensive as possible. So my expenditure first. So I am including the onions and the garlic that I grew on the other plot, because it kind of makes up the cycle, if you like. I guess we'll work our way through. My expenditure this year then. So if I hold the sheet like that, it doesn't look like I'm talking down all the time. Oh, like that. Right. Spent out money, £4 on a bag of early potatoes. So this is seed potatoes. £4 on some second early potatoes. £4 on some main crop potatoes. An additional £2.99 on main crop potatoes, which were the bluebells. Then I purchased 2 packets each of Onion Autumn Champion, Sensu and Red Winter. So they were £1.99 each, and that's for 50 bulbs on that. Jerusalem artichoke, got 2 rhizomes of that for £2.99. I've bought 2 4-kilo tubs of fish blood and bone, which are £9 a tub. I bought a pre-pack of globe artichoke at £2.99. I bought a supermarket sweet potato, as in, you know, ready to eat sweet potato, and that cost me £1.60. And the reason I say that is because the sweet potato that you would have seen me growing, and I did other videos on you know, how I grew the slips, well, that came from that supermarket bought sweet potato, so that's got to go in my costings. Seeds that I've purchased this year, so I already came into this season with quite a lot of seeds from last year, so sort of not accounted for those. But rolling on, I'm thinking that I'll do this next year as well, and then we'll sort of build up this cycle. So seeds that I bought this year: Turk's Turban, £3.49. The Climbing Nasturtiums, £3.75. I bought 4 new varieties of chili pepper. They totaled £15. I bought seeds of butternut squash Supermax, £3.75. 2 Dahlia Cornell tubers, £3.99 each. They came as a pre-pack from the garden centre. 8 bags of compost, multi-purpose compost, like this one here, which was Gardener's Choice. They were on 2 for £12. I've had 8 bags of that, so that's another £48 on that. Nylon string, nylon string, that was £3. Jute twine, £6. So my total spend this year, excluding the cost of the allotment, so total spend on things, was £146.47. £140 also spent on the allotment. Well, that is payable come March, so you got to add that into it, so that's £140. So I've spent £286.47 in total. Seems like a lot of money. Actually, I got to add on to that £30 also for the weed fabric, so 280, £316.47. That's all in. Then I had garlic that was saved from 2022, shallots that I'd saved from 2022, all my seeds that I obviously hadn't used up. My chrysanthemums, well, I've had those for years, and dahlias I've had for quite a long time as well. So those bits were, yeah, freebies if you like, because that's an ongoing thing. So yeah, £310. That's a lot of money, but got to bear in mind that this plot here is 16 metres long by 12 metres wide. That's bigger than most people's gardens. And actually, for £140 to rent that for £140, well, bloody hell! There's no way I couldn't rent anything around here for £140, not for a whole year. Certainly not a piece of land that size. So, you know, in that respect, good value, I think. And you know, I'd love to say that it's been a nice outlet for the family, but the reality's been that, you know, the family has been up here, kids have been up here, but I've spent a lot of time up here by myself. If I'd totaled up the hours, or if I'd kept records of the hours, good couple of 100 hours that I've been up here working away, and that essentially is because I was having to start from scratch. Moving forward, I'd like to think it'd be much easier, be more pleasant, blah blah blah. So that's the costings done. £310. Was it worth it? Well, here is my list, my returns list. Now, this, you probably, some of you won't believe this, but this is my actual returns. So, garlic. If you've watched my videos, you'll see that I grew an absolute load of garlic. I had well over 400 bulbs of garlic. I had closer to 600 garlics. I had, what did I end up with? 400 onions, 240 shallots. So that was all growing. So my returns are, and it is all written down here, and I'm quite happy to do a screenshot of my phone if anyone doesn't believe me. So I sold 150 bulbs of garlic to David, who's manages the farm for the Jewish community. Sold 150 bulbs to him. Actually no, I'd take that back. Yeah, 150 bulbs to him for close, well, about 120 quid actually. I have subsequently sold on eBay well over 1,000 cloves, which has brought me in about £295. So between the two of those, that's 300 and, well, nearly £400. So that's garlic. Onions, have not sold any, we've kept those, used them for ourselves. Pumpkins that I grew here, sold those to Garden Centre, £48. So that was for 10 of those, 9 of those, might be 9 of those. We entered some bits and pieces into the local RHS Hyde Hall show, so got £30 of prize money back from that. And so my totals that I've worked out here has given me an income of monetary value back £473. So 150, £160 in profit. But I've not done it for that. So that is the bonus really, you know, that money will go towards, well, has already been spent actually, and I'll come to that later. So that's already been spent for next year. But more importantly than that, you know, we're not worried about this financial bit. So more importantly than that, yeah, we've made some money, but have we been sufficient, self-sufficient? Has the allotment served to provide us with a decent amount of food or whatever? So if I run through this list, so I have had from this site cut flowers from May through to October, and I've got another little batch of winter flowering chrysanth outside the door, and they will flower for Christmas, they always do. So I don't know how much is a bunch of flowers, 10, 15 quid, whatever it is. So yeah, from May to October, we've had cut flowers in the house every week. That's either been dahlias or chrysanthemums or some sweet pea. We had 3 giant pumpkins for Halloween. We've had onions to eat from July through to now. We still have about 50 onions in the garage. We've had garlic from June through to now, because the first ones are the early purples, which we pulled some of those. Actually, we might have pulled some of those a little bit earlier, but we pulled some of that as wet garlic, and then yeah, just early purple is a great variety, so we did that. Shallots, we've had those from May through to date, and the reason I say to date is because initially we were pulling them as sort of small bulbs like that, and I've said previously, been using those as spring onion alternatives, but I've been using those early doors, and then because we just had so many of them, so 240, my wife actually pickled them. So we've got about 5 or 6 jars of pickled onions sitting in the cupboard and the fridge. So that is the shallots. Chili peppers, July to date, again, we've got quite a lot of jars which my wife has done of sweet chili sauce. She's also done 3 jars of pickled chilies, and then we've got some that are frozen, and I've got some, well, I've got a hell of a lot actually that are just drying on string, so they're getting used sort of sporadically. So that's those done. And you know, if you think about it, the chili peppers are a really late crop. The chili peppers came in after the potatoes, which yeah, I'll come to in a minute. So courgettes, you know, this is how my mind was literally just trying to write down things as I went through it really. Courgettes we had from May through to September, and that was pretty much every flipping day. The neighbours had everything that's on this list. The neighbours have also had, because we've just had so much as well, and the friends and family. Carrots, we had some May and June, then some in September, October. The May and June ones, not particularly good, in all honesty, lasted for probably a few weeks. Guinea pigs had the small ones. September, October, they were so much better because they were sort of the proper size ones, so they genuinely lasted us for about a month of total time. Potatoes, so they were from June through to date, because initially you're picking the June ones are your first earlies, then your second earlies, which we hadn't quite finished eating the first earlies, so the second earlies were lifted and stored at the garage at home, and then the main crops were lifted, and the main crops were still, well, yeah, we're only about halfway through the bag of them, which must have been about 30 kilos, 40 kilos worth of potatoes. So we had some at the weekend actually. Kale, so started off with curly kale, February, March, and then since then, which leads me on to here, the black kale or Cavolo Nero. Well, we had that initially May, June, and then that's just kind of carried on, and the plants are still growing. So you know, every weekend that gets picked, and that will probably, well, should keep going and through to about March, April of next year. So that gives you near enough 10 months or a year of cropping out of that Cavolo Nero. Unbelievable. And I've said it before, what we do different, or how we harvest it different: pull the leaves, pull as many leaves as you need, starting from the base, work your way up. Don't cut it. As soon as you cut it, that's crop over with. If you pull the leaves as you need them, then they will keep growing, and the ones out there are 3-4 foot tall. Well, yeah, probably about 3 to 3.5 foot tall. So it keeps going for ages. Perpetual spinach, September through to date. Again, that's still out on the beds. Beetroot, April through to, well, when I wrote this was November. I'll start November. I've started working on this. So beetroot, April through to end of October, early November, because we had some for Halloween, just because of the sort of the blood red. It was fantastic for a bit of Halloween food. Celery, again, first pickings of that were the July-August period, and then that went through to start of November. French beans, they did pretty well. They were sort of that June to August period. Runner beans, July, August, and they were rubbish this year. For here, literally had about 3-4 weeks of them, but admittedly, handful at a time, not on the same scale as I had last year, just because the temperatures weren't right. Radishes had 2 sowings, April, May, and then I can never grow radishes in the summer. So the autumn ones, which were September, October, into just about eked into November, they were really good, so we had those. Squash, Yuki-Curies. Now, started pulling those or cutting those in August, and we've still got those at home, so August to date, as in December. Squash, Turk's Turban, again, August through to now, we still have some. Butternut squash, September through to now, and we started with 23, probably still got about 14, 15 of those, because they're such big old things. And we had roasted squash with part of the food at the weekend, and we also had butternut squash soup on Friday just gone, so yeah, really good. Calabrese, April, May, disappointing, had about 4, won't be bothering to grow those again. Cauliflower, out of all 12 plants, had 1, just 1, won't be bothering with those again. Sweet corn, so had just over 30 sweet corn in September, and they literally, with sweet corn, it all comes at once. So ate a lot of cobs, and then a lot got frozen. So I suppose actually you could say September to date, but yeah, really most part was September. Mini popcorn, had 21 of those, and you have to eat those kind of there and then. So month of August, all the mini popcorn was just eaten throughout August, mainly by me actually. Leeks, they were rubbish, so small, didn't really do anything, so they're actually still growing on the beds. I've transplanted them, so they'll be for 2024. Sweet potato, which were the ones that I said bought from the supermarket, had that in October. Jerusalem artichoke, we've had some of it unfortunately spoilt with the cold. It suddenly dropped in temperature, all went, well, a bit mushy. Have got some sitting on the pathway out there, but it's no good. But yeah, so had some Jerusalem artichoke, definitely had more than the £3 worth of artichoke that it would have cost us. So you can see actually we were really self-sufficient for a good chunk of the year on that side of things. And whilst I come back to the chili peppers, they were started at home and then brought to the allotment. Tomatoes were grew at home, so I've discounted the tomato, I'm not even bothering about them. I also grew cucumbers, they were at home as well. But yeah, to come out of this allotment, we have had good chunks where literally we didn't have to go to the supermarket for any vegetables at all, and that's something to really shout home about. So if I'd not earned any money out of the garlic element, it would still be worth it from my point of view, in terms of how much money we have saved on getting the fresh vegetables, because it tastes so much better anyway than supermarket bulk. And then I've got this little bit here, which is again my expenses. So generated 100 odd quid, 130, 40 pound, whatever it is, in profit. I have spent this year, so with last month, October, spent in October £35 on elephant garlic cloves, which is for growing for 2024. Also spent another £37 on some elephant garlic corms to grow for 2024. So that is £72 there just on some elephant garlic. And the reason I bought elephant garlic is because the stuff that my elephant garlic that I grew this year just wasn't good enough. Yeah, I'll be honest, it'd be fine if I was just growing it to eat. Yeah, it'd be all right. But I took some to the RHS show and it got nowhere. It was so small compared to the competition, and in reality it didn't look the best. And I think it's just, I've just had it sort of, you know, saving some, using some, and I didn't really know enough probably about growing it initially, so I never retained the best cloves. So this year it's time to start fresh, and so spent £72 on elephant garlic, which I'm hoping will you know, put me in good stead to have some bloody good crops for next year, and as a early pick, and then 2025 realistically as my main pick. I've also bought, can't think of the variety, but a new variety of shallot. So all the Golden Gourmet and the Micador that I was growing last year and this year, all used up. My wife has used everything up because I'd made the decision that I wasn't going to be growing those two varieties anymore. Again, because they're not consistent enough. Golden Gourmet gets like that, bit of a pain in the ass to prep with. Micador, kind of like that, slightly elongated. So I've bought some, I don't even think I've got it here, I'd have to go and have a look on the label, but basically bought proper banana shallots. Can't think of the variety, it escapes me at the moment, but the banana ones that are that sort of sizing, that's what I've gone for. Well, 2.5 inch, 2.5 inch. So I bought those, and I've also got, which actually isn't on this list because I only bought it last week. I bought another type of shallot from Sainsbury's. So they cost me £1.60, and again they are absolutely massive. They're like this big for 4 of them. So I thought I'd just try and grow those, see whether they grow in this climate. They've come from France. They probably won't enjoy it, but I've got them started in the greenhouse. Not that it's heated, but started in the greenhouse. See what they do. And then I've also bought a load of different seed varieties, which totaled £12. So within that, so that'd be for growing 2024. So things like the tromboncinas, some different pumpkin seeds. What else did I buy? I bought another 2 chili peppers. Again, just having a clear out because I'm not going to be growing like the Carolina Reapers or the Bucciolocchis, so they've gone, so I've gone for a few more reliable ones. So that's it, that's my kind of year's worth of stuff done. Let's get rid of that. So has it been worth it financially? Yes, we've earned some money out of it, mainly because I've been eBaying the bits and pieces. In terms of self-sufficiency, let's grab this off here. Self-sufficiency, definitely worth it, because we've had nice fresh food, not necessarily when we've wanted it. So that's one thing to stress, is that growing it on your allotment, being reliant on Mother Nature, being reliant on yourself to get the timing right, or seeds done or whatever, you're not going to get the crops available when you want them. Can't stress that enough. If you want potatoes now, well, unless you've grown them as a main crop and you've grown enough to store, you ain't getting them. If you want broccoli now, you ain't getting it. So certain crops you're not going to get. You'll only get them for that moment in time, and you got to remember that. Rain's gone. Let's walk down here. So yeah, you cannot grow everything all the time, and that is one thing that you're not going to be able to beat the supermarkets at. However, if you have children like I have, you will be able to teach them the values of growing your own food. You'll be able to teach about buying seasonal crops, because they will be able to witness seasonal crops. Swiss chard, Cavolo Nero, Brussels sprouts. I only say that because that's what's here. Purple sprout and broccoli. Garlic is growing. You can't use it now. You know, that's a summer crop. So yeah, you will definitely be able to teach your children and teach yourselves about seasonality, seasonal crops, availability of things. You will definitely learn to appreciate rain. You will have to tolerate insects, pests, diseases, slugs and snails. You will have to get over handling manure. But actually, that's not a bad thing. You know, it brings you closer to nature, closer to having food that your body actually wants to have, should have. You know exactly what you have put on them crops. If you've sprayed them, if you've gone out there because you've seen insects on there and you've put insecticide on there, well, you've used insecticide, but at least you know what insecticide has gone on there. You can manage the type of chemicals that you use if you're going to be using chemicals. I'll be honest, I'll put down slug pellets. They're organic slug pellets, they're Grain Success ones. I don't spray. If I do happen to have to spray, then I use SB Invigorator, SB Invigorator, which is fatty acids based. So it's not an actual chemical. So I know that I can basically pick anything that is growing here and eat it straight off, because there's nothing on it. Literally nothing on it. Could you do that in the supermarket bought stuff? Well, would you want to? It's more to the point. So financially, you may or may not break even on it. Who cares? In terms of your health, growing stuff, being self-sufficient, teaching yourself, teaching your children about how to grow crops, seasonality of crops, nature, working with nature, getting your hands dirty, playing with soil, in the rain, in the sun. That is stuff that you will not gain. You won't be able to learn. You will not get that education by just buying your food from the supermarket. And so that, and seeing them, that is where having the allotment comes in. That is where having an allotment is worth it. So after 200-300 hours worth of working up here, probably closer to the 300, after spending out quite a bit of money, after having, well, failures with with the calabrese, with the cauliflowers, after sweet peas getting suddenly chewed on, after having these bad boys escape and trample through a few bits and pieces. Has it been worth it? Is it worth it? I've got to say yes. Without a shadow of doubt, yes. there's a slight pause there because some days you literally do not want to have to come up to the allotment. It is a pain in the arse to have to go to the allotment maybe before you go to work, or go to work and then come to the allotment, spend an hour watering or weeding or whatever. It is a right pain in the arse, and if you haven't got the time to do it, then it can quickly get on top of you, and it can become, I've got to say, and this from me, it can become quite stressful, particularly in that sort of May, June time, when you've got all your planting to get done. You've got loads of sorting out to get done. You're worrying about whether the frost is going to hit things, but then you get to the summer, autumn time, and it's lovely. It's so nice. So yeah, there are times when it's stressful, but I think for me it's probably stressful because I put so much on myself to try and get done. Like I said to you before at the beginning, this plot is 12 meters 20 by 16 meters 20. Not sure what that is in feet. 36 feet by 50 feet, something like that. So it's a big old plot. And for anyone who hasn't seen my other videos, this is 6 beds of this side, 6 beds of 3.6 meters, and these beds, again, 6 beds of 6 meters. So yeah, it's a lot of space. It's a lot of area to think about, and also even like now, working out so that you got your areas prepped up, ready, thinking about rotation of crops this year, next year, subsequent years. So it all takes its toll, but yeah, it's all part of it. So coming back to the point of the video, is having an allotment worth it? For me, yes, and hopefully for a lot of you, yes as well. And if you like this video, if you like the honesty, if you like seeing what I do, if you like being able to get a snapshot of what is happening, unfiltered each month, then please check out my video diary if you like. It's been going for the last 2 years on the plot that was down there and this plot. So yeah, feel free to go back through the videos, have a little look, see if there's things that I do that you don't do, and what that reason might be. There's probably things that you do as well that I don't, and that's great if you can message me over what you think that I should be growing, or indeed something that I've grown that you're not sure how to grow, and let's sort of expand on this channel, on the community. So yeah, hope you like the video. It's a long old video, I'm well aware of that. So if you've got this far, then thank you very much. If you like the content of it, then please check out my other videos. Please subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the reminder button so don't miss out on the future videos. They're never normally as long as this. And I always say it, but it is so true. Enjoy what you're doing, have fun, and just take the time to unwind, relax, and be at home with a bit of nature, a bit of wildlife. So till next time, bye for now.